Collaboration between the Chamber of Mines of South Africa, the Department of Mineral Resources and the National Union of Mine Workers. The Lekgotla was launched in 2012, followed by an equally successful 2013 edition. It has been addressed by a number of leading experts and thought leaders drawn from the political, labour, academic, media and private sector arenas. The industry is under pressure about its compliance with the Mining Charter, which stipulates ownership, transformational, social and labour obligations that companies must meet to retain their mining rights. Let's now cross to our reporter Mugeni Mutwa to tell us more what's happening at the Mining Indaba. Mbongeni, can you tell us a little bit more about this Mining Indaba, and has it already started?
It's well and truly underway, Elvis. It started early this morning. We've had speeches from both the President of the Chamber of Mines. We had a speech by Frans Baleni, the General Secretary of the NUM. We've had speakers from other trade unions in the mining industry, Solidarity, WASA. Of course, the keynote address was given by the Minerals Minister himself earlier today. And the discussions are well and truly underway now. And actually, right now, I'm joined by the President of the Chamber of Mines, Mr. Mike Teke, to talk a bit about the focus of this year's conference. Mr. Teke, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
This is the third year running
yes.
That you're hosting this Mining Lekgotla. What is the key theme of this year's gathering? What is the focus?
Well, this year we're talking about acknowledging the past and looking into the future. And we know that it's 20 years of democracy since 1994, and we essentially taking stock. And we know that as an industry, there are great successes. We've achieved some, and in some cases, we still feel that there are challenges that we face.
What do you regard as the main achievements or milestones, if any, that have been achieved by the mining industry over the past 20 years?
Well, from a regulatory point of view, you have the MPRDA, which was promulgated in 2002. There is progress made in that area, but not at all, not in full. Obviously, there are some companies or mining houses that still need to comply, but essentially to have that regulated, it's an achievement. The second one, if you look at the mining industry as an environment where people regard as a risky environment, we have improved our safety record tremendously. If you look at 2003, we had 270 fatalities in this industry. Last year, it was the first time we were below 100. That is 93 fatalities in the industry. 93 is one too many. You know, we're fighting for zero harm. Number three, it's an industry that's talking. From a legislative point of view, we've eliminated issues that relate to providing living conditions for our employees, from housing, from a living wage. But again, I emphasize that there's more to be done. We still need to improve. Yes, 2012, we had a dent with the Midrand tragedy. It was a sad moment for the industry. This year, we faced a 5-month strike in the platinum sector. And we believe that those challenges will be dealt with directly.
Now, if you can tell me, Mr. Teke, and explain to me, the most important development over the last 20 years, of course, many people would say, was the promulgation or the adoption of the Mining Charter, which provided specific targets that should have been met by March this year. That deadline has come and gone, and none of those targets have been met by the industry over the past 10 years. How do you explain this?
I'm not sure when you say none of those targets have not been met, because the audit is still going on. And that report will come out, as Minister has mentioned, that in October the discussion will continue, and in March next year, that's the year, because it runs 1 year ahead. And so I'm not sure which one you say. Yes, there are those areas we haven't achieved, but there are those areas we've achieved. Inside here, when we had a debate on the transformation side, the issue of ownership became prominent, that companies should be at 26%. Are we really at 26%, all of us, or do we still have those who still have to achieve 26%?
Mr. Teke, there can be no doubt that that target, which people regard as the main target, has not been achieved. 26% of all mining companies in this country is not owned by black people in an unencumbered fashion. It's not the case. Absolutely. You talk about transformation, you talk about employment equity, you talk about the fact that by this year, yes, hostels should have been abolished. Instead, we still have hostels, and we've had a significant growth of squatter camps where mine workers lived. In fact, one would say it's worse conditions that people live in. Clearly, none of the mining charter checkers have been met, and no one seems to be able to explain why this is the case.
There are 9 legs to the charter. You spoke about ownership. Yes, there are those who have achieved 26%, there are those who have not achieved it. There's room for improvement. You talk about living conditions and housing, talking about employment, equity, skills development. A lot of progress has been done in different areas. Talking about affirmative procurement, yes, there is room for improvement. It's not been easy. We face challenges. Is this the industry that says we stop now and say we close the doors and we stop operating, or we look at the mistakes that have taken place and look at best practice as well and see as to whether can we learn from those and improve for the future.
Mr. Teke, lastly, everyone is here, all the stakeholders are here except AMCU. Why is AMCU not here?
Well, we've invited all the stakeholders. We've had meetings with AMCU. There's nowhere where we've openly said we don't want AMCU to participate. We recognize, as you do, that AMCU is a stakeholder. We've invited them. The decision not to participate here was not our decision. It's their decision.
Mr. Teke, thank you very much for your time, and thanks for joining us, and good luck with the rest of the conference. Well, Elvis, we've run out of time. Of course, it's back to you.
Mbongeni, thank you so much for that report. Let's move on to other stories now. Japan's economy contracted by an annualized 6.8% in the